How's it going, team? This is going to be a real quick rundown of Pablo. I actually did every character in a single video, so I'm just going over certain characters individually. And it's going to be a bit shorter because some of these characters have less nuance than others, and some have, well, obviously a lot more. So Pablo's 4 unique perks are, or as you guys know him as, El Brujo Especial. So gift from El Brujo Especial, you're allowed to create an amulet, and then it goes on cooldown. 120 seconds, you can create another amulet. So he's really good at stockpiling amulets. Infernal Camouflage, demons can't detect you using demon vision. So when you shoot, you don't pop up on the map. When your fear is at a certain threshold, you don't pop up. When you use a car, the notification doesn't pop up. But the demon can still see the car moving. It's not a ghost, it's Pablo. So just be mindful of that. So you can navigate, whether if you're an aggressive person and if you're good at handling yourself, drive directly to an objective. If you're not that good at handling yourself, park the car a little bit away from you, have the demon maybe look around if they can. And that's something you can totally do. With Legacy of El Brujo, you begin with an additional amulet and shamanic protection. Your shield bar will gradually recover over time until you have at least one. I wish it went past that, but something beats nothing. So typically with El Brujo Especial, this is the build that I use. I go Seeing Stars for more balance bar damage from the melee attacks. I don't invest in stopping power because when you hit headshots and you get really good with the headshot rate, you do double balance bar damage. So I don't really need to go into stopping power. I go into right here, full Shemps Plus, because when you buy yourself, you want to make sure you're good. Also, if you just happen to be the last person standing, you want to make sure you're good. I go into Fast Forward. The demon levels up slower if they can stay at the objective less and farm points less. This also mitigates when people go down. People go down if they're not healthy or if they're possessed. The timer takes a lot longer to actually tick up because they're not counted as a healthy person in the objective ring. But Fast Forward mitigates their own the demon's own objective perks, and it also mitigates them being removed from adding to the clock via being possessed, downed, or dead, or just being outside the blue ring. So it's pretty good, comes in clutch. Deep Pockets Amulet, because you make a lot of amulets, right? You want to make sure you carry a bit more. I go Industrial Strength 4 for more longevity. And for team support, I go Deep Pockets, Shemps, and Packing Pop, because I'm also sometimes by myself. And if the demon happens to find me, I want to make sure that I'm good, right? I typically don't invest in First Aid or Good Karma. It's mandatory, so I go there. Because right now, the demons are guarding whoever's down, and it is the job would be the Henry to pick them up if there's a Henry on the team. But typically it's not bad if someone wants to invest in that. They get more health recovered, so that means that's less likely that you have to use a Shemps, or maybe that's a Shemps that you don't have to use on someone who's immediately brought back. And of course, you heal yourself, so that mitigates maybe the damage that you'll take from going over there and whatnot. So both of these will actually mitigate the amount of Shemps that you'll have to use down the line if you can pull that off. That's typically how I like to run Pablo. Really quickly, some people can go here if they want Reinforced Amulet, or some people they'll go Damage Pablo, so they'll do something like, for extra tankiness, they go into Tougher Than Hell, right? Or once again, if they want some Damage Pablo, then they can do something akin to taking 1 out of here, taking 2 out of here, and going 3 into there. Will give you, because you might not want to do melee a lot, but you will want to shoot just to preserve yourself. So you go damage here, and then it adds not too bad of a way. Or if you want, you can also go into Wig Splitter, and if you're good with the headshots, that increases your damage quite a bit more. Or they go into Devastating Force if they choose to. That would be an interesting gambit. But going into something like that will increase your melee potential, and especially going down for the book, you might want to build it into some form of damage or balance bar, because a lot of demons are winning matches at the book. And a lot of people are just literally saving their entire kit for the book. So you're going to make sure that you are viable in all stages, not just that. One good thing with Pablo is that one thing to be mindful of rather, is that you have to build for the Pablo. If you see a Pablo on your team, invest in shield early. Pablo can keep the shields up throughout the match if Pablo is not wandering off on his own. And the more that he keeps those shields up, the less likely he'll have to use his shemps, because your shields will be up. There's many ways to support a team, not just by giving them straight HP, but also by having it so the demon doesn't actually touch their HP for a while. And of course, this is good for something like anti-Evil Ash. Evil Ash has anti-heal, but he does not have anti-amulet. So one of the things that Pablo can actually do in a reverse situation of, instead of everyone dropping things for the support can actually drop amulets for example, the warrior, and the warrior will get 2 shields instead of 1 for the amulet. So it actually scales much higher. So you'll have warriors who at times just do not die, and it becomes quite disgusting with Pablo. But of course, as with all supports, you want to be mindful of you picking up whatever amulets you have, not using amulets if the Pablo is nearby, so Pablo can refill your bar over time. And then if you need to use an amulet on yourself later, especially as a warrior, you do it. You want to make sure you have 3 amulets on you at all times as a warrior, so the Pablo will fill up. And then when you really need to, when you're missing 2 shield bars and you have the full investment in shield as a warrior, you do that. The Pablo will play with you. And that's how you guys make sure that you have a decent Pablo on your team. And you guys will definitely have a really, really, really good time, especially if they're pushing objectives. It gets really, really nutty. You guys be safe. Have a good one. If you learned something, like, share, subscribe, etc. I'll catch you on the flip-flop.